Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching News 9 Live. Now, there have been some crucial developments pertaining to the one rank, one pension case, where pensions erode to thousands of ex-servicemen. Today, the Supreme Court has passed orders that the Government of India shall pay the arrears to about 4 lakh family of pensioners and gallantry award winners by the 30th of April in 2023. The top court had earlier directed the Ministry of Defence to file a 3-page note specifying the exact quantum of arrears due to be paid under the OROP scheme, while noting that it is sad that 4 lakh retired defence personnel have already died waiting for their pension. Now, pensions that are due to be paid to pensioners above the age of 70 years have to be finished and cleared before the 30th of June this year. The rest of the pensioners will be paid their dues in 3 equal installments by the government, with the third of that installment coming in the February of next year, that is February 2024. And while hearing pleas, the bench headed by Chief Justice of India DY Chandrachud said that the central government is duty bound to comply with the 2022 judgment in terms of the OROP scheme, and also noted that out of the 25 lakh pensioners, 4 lakh do not qualify for the OROP, and therefore the total number of pensioners falls in the range of 21 lakhs. And that's not all. Today, when the central government placed details in a sealed cover before the court, the bench refused to accept it in the sealed cover and asked it to give a copy to the petitioner as well. The CJI saying that there cannot be secrecy, there has to be transparency in courts. And this is arrears to be paid as per our judgments. There has to be transparency. This being put across by the Chief Justice of India. Before we begin and get the discussion snowball and rolling, joining me in the studio is Ashok Bagria, legal editor for News 9. But there's a reaction, Ashok, that's coming from the premises. There's a petitioner. Let's quickly take a look at that reaction first.
After due consideration, has ordered the following. They have said that all family pensioners and gallantry award winners to be paid full arrears by 31st March 2023. However, the court had also read what they had said by 30th April. Once the court order comes, whether it is 31st March or by 30th April, this will be known all family pensioners and gallantry award winners. All pensioners, defense pensioners, who are above 70 years of age, they will be paid full arrears before 30th June 2023. 30th June 2023. The remaining pensioners, they will be paid starting from 1st July to 28th February in 3 equal installments, 28th February 24. So this is the order that all arrears to be finished by payment to all the pensioners by 28th February 2024 in these 3 bits.
Well, now, Ashok, to the layman out there, could you help, classify the order that has been passed and also refresh the memory of the viewers as well? 7 years back, the government in principle saying that we have no problem with the one rank, one pension scheme, hues and cries, dues that were supposed to be paid. How crucial are these developments that have taken place, and about the classification as well?
So first, let me run you through the chronology as to how this litigation actually happened. So first, this has been a long-standing demand by ex-servicemen, and they've been fighting, taking to the streets to get this one rank, one pension scheme adopted by the Government of India. And it was in 2015, that the Modi government approved the one rank, one pension scheme. However, even after the scheme was approved, there were dues, there were arrears, because this pension scheme was to be implemented from 1st July 2014. There were arrears which were accumulating and which were to be paid to the ex-servicemen. However, even 8 years later, after this scheme was approved by the Government of India, the arrears have not been paid to pensioners. And in fact, during this period, over 4 lakh pensioners who were entitled to these dues have passed away. Now, after the scheme was approved by the Government of India, it was challenged in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court approved the scheme. And finally, in 2002, the Supreme Court also dismissed the review petition and asked the government of India to implement the scheme as soon as possible, and they also gave a deadline that these arrears have to be paid in 2022 itself. Now it's been almost a year. These ex-servicemen once again approached the Supreme Court, said that it's on the last 3 occasions the government of India has consistently been delaying the payment of these arrears to people who desperately need these monies. Now, in the hearing a week back, the Supreme Court also took cognizance of the urgency of the matter and asked the Attorney General, who is the highest law officer of the country, to intervene in the matter and to sort out this issue. So today, when the matter was called out, the Attorney General of India basically submitted a consolidated note on the payment of these dues to the Supreme Court, saying that the government of India basically has classified the pensioners into 3 categories. The first category are the family pensioners. The second category are ex-servicemen above the age of 70 years, and the third category is the rest of the pensioners. So before we go ahead, the burden on the exchequer as far as these arrears and dues are concerned is 28,000 crores, and the Attorney General for India said that this money cannot be paid in one go and will have to be done in a scattered manner. And that is why what they are going to do is that they are going to first target the family pensioners and gallantry award winners, are going to pay off their dues latest by April 30th this year. Secondly, they are going to target pensioners who are above the age of 70 years, for which the dues will be paid by June 30th, 2023, and the rest 11 lakh pensioners will be paid their pension dues in 3 equal installments, and the last due will be paid on February 28, 2024. So this is the scheme which was given by the Attorney General and has been approved by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court saying we will breach no more delay and let these payments be made.
But it seems to be like a long-drawn legal battle. Do you see it getting stretched further? I mean, innumerable examples where deadlines haven't been met with, and you rightly pointed out the huge amount of money and the burden on the exchequer as well.
Yeah, one of the arguments given by the government of India for seeking extension of time to pay the dues was that so much of money is not available to the exchequer. They said that there is a defense budgetary outlay as far as the Ministry of Defense is concerned is 5.85 lakh crore rupees, and out of that 1.32 lakh crore rupee goes in paying off pensions to the ex-servicemen, and add to this another 28,000 which is the dues. It will be a huge burden on the government of India. So this time around the Supreme Court said no, this is fine, these things we understand that these things cannot be paid in one go, but we agree to the proposal that if you break them down, then it becomes easier also on the government of India. Now, coming to your question, whether is there a likelihood of any other delay or the government of India again approaching the Supreme Court seeking more time for the payments to be made, the court, which was headed by the Chief Justice of India, made it clear in his order that hereafter they are not going to allow the government of India any more time to make these payments.
Well, so certainly relief for these ex-servicemen as well. Needless to say, the 4 lakh pensioner families and gallantry award winners that will now finally and hopefully get these monies. But interestingly, another thing happened today. That sealed cover that was refused by the the Chief Justice of India, the bench that was hearing this particular case, saying that there needs to be transparency in the court. Could you help us understand, throw some light about this sealed cover business, quote unquote, that the Supreme Court is now talking about, saying no, we can't have untransparent sealed covers in the courtroom?
Well, this was basically an observation by the Chief Justice of India, DY Chandrachud, who basically refused to take on record a consolidated note given by the Attorney General of India about the payment plans or the arrear dues which the government of India has to pay to the pensioners. So this was basically given in a sealed envelope, only to be seen by the judges, to be appreciated by the judges, the difficulty faced by the government of India in making that payments. But the moment the Attorney General of India told the court that he does not wish to share this document with the petitioners, which are the ex-servicemen. The Chief Justice of India remarked that we do not agree with this business of giving documents in a sealed envelope where it cannot be shared with the petitioners, and he also went on to say this goes against the basic judicial principle of an open court hearing. Now, this issue of sealed envelopes, reports being submitted to the Supreme Court in sealed envelopes have come under a lot of criticism in the last few years, because we've seen that in many criminal cases, CBI and Enforcement Directorate and any other investigating agencies have passed on secret information to the courts, and with which the petitioners have had no opportunity to respond. So basically, the Supreme Court of India is saying that we need to stop this business of receiving documents, secret documents, or documents which cannot be shared with the petitioners, because this violates the basic principle of judicial transparency.
Well, the Chief Justice of the country also said that this does not set a very nice example for the lower courts, the high courts as well. Now, for somebody who doesn't know the in and outs of what happens in these judicial institutions, how prevalent is this practice in the Supreme Court?
Well, as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, it's widely practiced. In fact, as I pointed out earlier, that many investigating agencies generally come up to the courts in cases where they are investigating financial crimes. They would pass on a report in a sealed envelope and tell the courts that it's only for the consumption of the judges, and this particular report goes against the petitioners who have approached the court either for bail or quashing of criminal proceedings. So when such reports are not shared with the petitioners or the accused, it violates the basic principle that a person should be given an opportunity to defend himself or herself in the courtroom. However, in the high courts also, this is a practice which is very regularly practiced. And now that the Supreme Court, the highest court of the country, and the topmost judge of the country, the Chief Justice of India, making his mind clear, saying that this practice of passing reports or notes in a sealed envelope has to stop. This is a message which will go down to the lower courts also, and they will also probably shun this practice of receiving reports in sealed envelopes.
Well, absolutely. Before we wrap this discussion up, Ashok, I'm going to have to put you on the spot here. What kind of reformative measures do you think our judicial institutions need? I mean, you've raised those, crucial points and red flags as well. Would you like to suggest some reforms that could be inculcated?
Well, the reform that has to be introduced has been voiced by the Chief Justice of India himself when he says that this business of passing off reports in any pending proceeding should be stopped. Because what happens is that, let's take for example an environmental case is there. So there is a report by the Environment Ministry or the Government of India on the environmental status of, let's say, mangroves or hill or possibly any other area which is for the consideration of the Supreme Court. And if the Government of India says that we have conducted and we have constituted an expert committee, the committee has given this report, and this report is to be shared only with the court, this actually does not give a level playing field to the person who's approached the Supreme Court, because he or she does not have the benefit of really knowing what the expert committee or what the government committee is saying in its note. So when they are not given a fair opportunity to rebut the claims made by the Government of India or any other state government, this actually results in uneven playing ground for the petitioners and the respondents. So this is something which is of utmost importance, that definitely this business of sealed envelopes has to go. The judiciary has to be transparent, adhere to the principle of public hearing of cases which are conducted in the courtrooms. And this is an example which must be followed not just by the high courts, but even the lower courts.
And Ashok, you put that chronology, in front of all of us, and correct me if I'm wrong. First, to the 4 lakh families of those pensioners and gallantry award winners, then to those who are above the age of 70, and then the rest of the ex-servicemen before the 28th of February in 2024. Do you think the way it has been prioritized is the right way to go about it?
Yes, in fact, this is something which was suggested by the Supreme Court itself. It said that you need to first determine, once you have the corpus, the money is in your kitty, you have to decide that once it cannot be disbursed in one go, we would ideally, the court said we would ideally want that this money should be disbursed in one go to all the pensioners. But here is a strange situation where the government says that it does not have so much money to give out at this, give it out in one go. So what the court suggested was that why don't you categorize, or why don't you classify these pensioners who need the money first. So it was decided that the ones, the pensioners who have family pension and gallantry award winners who have sustained injuries or during the course of their service are the ones who are in more pressing need of these arrears than other pensioners. Then they said, then after the first category of family pensioners and gallantry award winners, the court said, let's come to somebody who is a little low in the pecking order. Then they said that we are now going to say that 70 plus pensioners who are of the age 70 and above shall be the second who will be entitled to receive the arrears. And these are the people who require these money for their treatment, for medical attention and other purposes. And then the third category, the persons who can actually wait, are the rest of the pensioners, to which the court has said that we just give you a breathing space of another year to pay and disburse these OROP dues by February 2024.
We also took a look at those protests that, with all these ex-servicemen taking to the streets as well. And the timing is suspect as well, because there have been delays already, but let's not forget we're looking ahead at some crucial, state elections and in the run-up to 2024 elections as well. Do you think the central government was under pressure to then, allocate these arrears, or clearance of these arrears?
Well, there will always be criticism the way the central government has handled this issue. There's no doubt about it. Now it comes at a time when these arrears will be paid to these ex-servicemen, who also form a good chunk of voters who vote and could actually decide the way their votes are cast. So there is no doubt that political parties will use this OROP measure to say that, look, this is the BJP government, the Modi government, which has managed to clear all your OROP dues, and maybe they will use it in their, the performance list when they go to before the 2024 elections. They'll say, they'll tom-tom the fact that, look, Modi government has cleared the OROP dues running into 28,000 crores in the last 1 year.
Better late than never.
Yeah, that is true, but if political gains are to be made out of it, it looks that the BJP has a very strong chance of drawing some gain from it.
Right. Well, but certainly relief for the ex-servicemen, and of course a big no-no to the seal cover business, a message coming right from the top of the judicial institution, the Chief Justice of the country. Legal editor, News 9, Ashok Bagria, many thanks for joining us on this conversation. One rank, one pension, the arrears have been fast-tracked. More content coming right on the other side. Stay tuned to News 9 Live.